Hi, and welcome back to FanCorner, your favorite nerdy, unhinged podcast. Joining you today is Rachel, me, the face of FanCorner,
Yay!
and the lovely, the incomparable Julie.
Woo!
Today's episode is really exciting because we're going to be talking about Bridgerton, all anyone's talking about, especially where they cut the season in half. So we're just stuck on an endless cycle of hell.
Yeah,
So,
we are.
There's that.
Netflix needs to stop doing this.
I have never seen this much backlash about it before because they did it with Stranger Things and people mentioned
they did it with Witcher too.
Oh yeah, they did. People mentioned it, but I feel like a lot of people are talking about it and a lot of people are pissed off actually. So
yeah, totally.
Hopefully that says something to them. Well, before we get into it though, we're gonna do our high mids. So July, what's your high this week?
My high is that I found a cute new game to play on my iPad when I'm just bored and want to, do something fun for a little bit because it doesn't take that much time. But it's called Cats and Soup. And it's about cats who make soup. And
when you sent me the picture of it, it was not what I was picturing. So yeah. I was really surprised. I just pictured a cat standing over a cauldron.
I mean, that's how it starts. There is one cat in the center. So basically you have your own little forest and it kind of keeps getting bigger and bigger. And it starts with one cat that's stirring a cauldron pot of soup. Okay. And then as you earn money and whatever from selling your cutie soup, you can add other cats to your area, and they're one's chopping veggies, one's chopping broccoli, one's making honey.
You're franchising, bitch.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing.
And eventually you can have they have little baby mini games where you can go fishing and add them to your aquarium, and the cats will stare at the fish in the aquarium, and it's really cute. You can send the cats on adventures and they'll come back with a little postcard. And it's one of those games where you can play for 10 minutes and then leave it alone, and it just keeps accumulating your sales in soup, and then you can come back and just, but it's really, really cute. And I like the art, and it's just cute cats doing domestic things, and you can win cute little outfits. And I have one that has a crescent moon shaped hat.
Okay, so the cat game is undoubtedly cute, but I feel like we need to take a moment for your sweatshirt.
Oh yeah, my sweatshirt.
Ta-da. It's from Crescent City. Royal Coven makes it.
Yes.
And everyone should get one. Yes. I have been trying not to talk about this hoodie for so long because I didn't want to bring it to your periphery because I got it for Julia as a gift, and so I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I wore it. It's an adjacent high, I guess. I went on a bookcation weekend last week. I don't know why I didn't think of that, where I spent the whole weekend with a bunch of girls and all we did was read books. So I brought this with me because they all read SJM books and everyone was obsessed. So
as they should be.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my god, yeah. Okay, so I've been reading a weird amount.
Good.
Back awesome. Back to where you finish a full a 600-page book in 2 days kind of level. Yes. It started with Iron Flames, also known as Fourth Wing 2. Yeah. I demolished it, and I'd heard a lot of bad things about it, and so it kind of made me by the time I got my hands on the book, I was I don't know, but then it was amazing, and I don't know what I was talking about. I went so hard, Brian. At one point, I was jumping around in a circle while reading and brushing my teeth. And at a different point, Brian came over and pried it out of my hands because it was past midnight.
Oh my gosh.
It was really funny actually. And then right after that, I got really into, which this is going to be a plot twist for everyone, I got really into Lightlark, which is funny because it's the antithesis of a book talk book. Because everyone dragged on it so hard.
Yeah, that's why I've never read it, and all I've heard is that it sucks, and I don't know anything about it except that. Well, okay, it was advertised as royal fantasy Hunger Games.
Yeah, and I was I'm not interested.
And well, I mean, I'm that sounds cool, but everybody said it sucked, so I was
I think I was turned off by that sales pitch, and I actually don't even think that's what the fuck it is, so I don't know what they're talking about. I'm
Then what would you
just because one person has to die doesn't make it Hunger Games. Okay, like it's kind of the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Yeah. But everyone, when it came out, like 2 falls ago, I just remember everyone was pissed it was a big deal. There was like controversy because they were like, well, there's better books that deserve to get like, I don't know, like TV deals first and like blah blah. And I remember thinking, okay, guys, like I don't know, but I follow the author on TikTok because she makes fire content. And eventually I could tell from her content that it wasn't like a Hunger Games. It wasn't Hunger Games. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm interested. I love Hunger Games, but like, I don't need another Hunger Games, you know? But so I was like, okay, this looks like something else. So I happened to pick it up and I was like, guys, this is amazing. I like had to go out and get the second book. I just read that whole weekend and like it got pretty thick. It was like the smallest font I've ever seen in my life. Like if you want to complain about something, we're complaining about the font.
Okay, so what that means I should not read the physical copy because I hate reading tiny font.
Tiny font makes me want to shoot something. You know who's the worst for that though? I think the Rebecca Yarros books have the smallest font I've ever seen in my entire life.
I've never heard anybody else say that, so the fact that you say that makes me so happy.
No, I read a lot of.
I can't read them.
No, I read a lot of physical books, so I'm used to the fonts. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like Rebecca Yarros is like half the size of the full font, which makes it even. I don't know.
Well,
it makes me mad.
So, like, I guess a follow-up question then is, if the pitch that's been given for Lightlark is not really what it's about, what would you say? Like, how would you pitch it, or give like a brief synopsis, or is it better to go in blind?
I mean, I think blind would help, so we're just gonna give vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I think it's another, which I know we have quite a few of these, but I feel like it stands a little differently. Like, think another like fantasy, like coming into your power, like having to break a curse sort of thing. I do think a lot of, because I've seen a lot of bad reviews on it since, a lot of people's complaints I think would have been resolved if they'd finished the book. Like they were like, oh, it didn't make sense, and it was because the character didn't know things. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like she's learning and we're learning with her. It is written in third person, so that was difficult for me. I prefer first person, but I quickly like got over it. But the first 2 chapters I was very disoriented. But it's like it has like a really strong romance. A lot of people talk about the Shadow Daddy versus the Light Daddy in it.
I didn't even know that there was either or in those books.
It's because I follow the author. It's actually interesting because I am firmly, okay, like I will go to the bat over this Light Daddy. And I think that's actually a huge improvement for me as a human being. Like I was like, just because the evil guy likes her doesn't mean we should like him. Like
character development.
This is not like Rashand, okay? He's not secretly good. Like I was like, this feels toxic to me. And it's like I get why it's fun. Like I get it. You know what I mean? But I'm like, if she doesn't end up with the one I want her to end up with, I might fucking rip the book in half. Like that's how intense I am about it. Well, it is a true love triangle, and I feel like some people don't like that. Like I feel like a lot of people don't like
love
that.
Triangle. So
I feel like that's become like not in vogue anymore. So I'm kind of excited to see it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people complain about it for a long time, so it's been not in books really for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and everyone's always just like, well, they should just all be together.
Yeah. I know. Everyone's like polyamory, and I'm like, that doesn't work.
That's not the solution for most people. Yeah, that's not what we're doing, okay? Like, that's not true to a lot of these characters where it gets said about. So, I read that. And then I read Tess of the Emerald Sea. Like, I've just been reading nonstop, to the point where, like, I really have come out of, like, a book coma. Like, I kind of, like, I came out and I was like foggy. Like,
who is she?
Yeah, like I was like, I literally said to Brian, I was like, oh wow, it's nice to talk to you. He was like, babe, we've talked, and I was like, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't think anything was getting through to me though. Like,
rip.
It's really funny. Luckily he thought it was very, very cute. And he knows the entire plots now. But so reading Air, that's my high.
That's awesome.
What is your mid?
So my mid is that I'm going to be moving in a few weeks. So I've been packing, and packing is not fun because it's very depressing to see your space diminish.
It's so much work.
It's a lot of work. And like you can't even really see anything in this view, so it just like looks like normal background, but the room I'm in is still pretty decorated, but like my living space is pretty empty and sad.
Right.
And so I've really hated doing that because it takes a lot of time and energy, and like I've like made a list of like, okay, these are those size boxes I have and what they were labeled last time I moved. And like Rachel is nice letting me borrow a bunch of bins, plastic card bins. And so I'm like, okay, I have this many left. What could go in there? And I'm like planning out what goes in boxes. And I just haven't done it yet.
That's so funny. I feel like I planned out the order of like least annoying to pack, and you're like, no, which fits best in which box. It's like really cute, actually.
Yeah. So that's it's been annoying. And then like I randomly was moving a bunch of things the other day, like a stack of boxes that were books, so they were heavier, and so I was like just shoving them across the floor, and then all of a sudden some muscle like in my back went and like didn't feel great. I'm like, that's cool. And so then I immediately stopped what I was doing, and I'm fine. It was just literally like I moved wrong for like a second.
Okay, so you're like, not still in pain?
No.
Okay, good.
I was fine the next day, but I was like, why?
That's crazy.
I know.
Oh my god. Dumb.
But anyways,
it's physically exerting, so that makes sense.
Yeah. But what is your mid?
I have so many big projects for FanCorner, on top of like the exciting projects like the advent calendar and things like that, where it's like there's more logistics than I've ever dealt with before. Multiple launches, like multiple things, like I post more on social, like just more of everything. But then at the same time, like on the back end of the business, I have to make sure I'm like advertising, SEOing, and like fixing shipping profiles that I've noticed are broken, like, and I literally just feel like I'm drowning. Leaky Con is the beginning of July, and I'm just like, how the fuck are we gonna get there? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm very overwhelmed. I know it will be fine, but will it? Like, I don't know.
It will be fine.
The fear of failure is high, so
gotcha.
That's kind of where I'm at in my mid. But yeah.
I also see. Do you want to talk about your other mids?
Any other mids?
I just am looking at our outline.
CJ Lair knows things I don't know.
What the fuck is with the Bridgerton gap? We kind of already touched on that. And then not being able to see the new version of the Eras Tour.
Okay, actually this was kind of emotional for no reason. So I know we just had our Tortured Poets Department like episodes, but like she obviously came out with the new set on the tour.
Right.
And The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived is, one of my top 2 favorite songs on the album, that and Prophecy. And so, this version, the live version, goes so much harder. You know what I mean? And you can't like just listen to that anywhere. Like, that's not an option. The choreo goes so hard.
My guess is that it eventually will be put on streaming platforms, because she did that eventually with You're Losing Me.
Yeah, it just takes her like
a billion
years. That took like 8 months. Yeah. So I listened to it nonstop on YouTube, even though it kept taking it down. They kept being new ones. Yeah. So I will be looking for that. If I find a link, I'll put it in the show notes. Even though I'm sure it'll be taken down by then.
I mean, it's kind of like how I can't stop listening to the live version of Who's Afraid of Little Old Me.
Oh yeah. Okay, her Roomba thing though.
Yeah.
It's fine. It looks great from a distance, but when you see someone see how they see it on the floor, I'm like, oh well.
I know, I'm like, what in the Roomba?
I'm so sad I can't go though. I looked actually like a weirdo. Like I was like, how much would it be? And what's crazy is, and Brian keeps reminding me this, right? And he reminds me this constantly. He's like, babe, that concert was a lot for you, babe. Like, I know you had fun, but like concerts are hard for you. So, and he's not wrong. So I do think it's maybe for the best, but like not being able to, because you don't win the Ticketmaster Wars and you don't have the money, does suck.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So that's a mid.
I mean, she also re-released the Eras Tour movie with like new songs, so who's to say she's not going to re-release it with the Tortured Poets set?
I have wondered if that would happen. I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Again, it could be quite a far way down the road, but that's going to be so much more accessible for me, especially like my knee injury is getting so much better, but if we had flown out and tried to go to one of these shows, who's to say I could even walk the stadium stairs?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a hard thing to have to come to grips with. Brian was like, where are you going to get the $6,000? You know what I mean? And I was like, I have a credit card.
I'm going to pull it out of my ass.
And I'm not like a credit card user, but the way I was like,
shh, take the plastic. Like the meme where it's like they have the credit card and they go tap, 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 tap.
Exactly. That's exactly the energy. Well, let's get into the show because as always, we're talking too long because we're cuties. Like, what are we going to do about it? Yeah. So Bridgerton.
This is the first time I've watched Bridgerton when it came out.
Kate, it will never not drive me nuts. Like, next time I want you to watch a show and you sass me, I'm going to be like, remember Bridgerton? Because she was like dragging her feet so hard, and now like you're like a big Bridgerton girly with me.
Yeah, because I watched it all like about 2 years ago. No, because it was when we went for your birthday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So 2 years ago was when I watched it all, and season 2 had come out already, but it already had its like peak moment.
Right.
Like it had been a bit.
I feel like you were like 3 months late, yeah.
Yeah. And so this time I was like really, really excited. And it's really fun to be a part of it when it's the hot thing.
Yeah. It is really fun. I do think it's easy to get swept up in it, but that's still part of the fun too.
Totally.
This was a fun one for me, my friend, because you were watching it live and we had the cool moment where like Julaire texted me something and I was like, oh my God, we're at the same part. But we weren't. Like, no, I saw the text 15 minutes late, but I still thought that was cool. Like, what were the chances? And then like Kat, one of my other friends, we were texting so much during, but she was like 30 minutes behind me, and it was getting old because like I couldn't like say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was like trying not to react on my end, so I was like, I'm just gonna pause it and you catch up. And then I called her and I was like, okay, and we counted down and we pressed play.
Yeah.
And we just did an episode like that, and it was just so fun. And so I think that's like the perfect example of like the community building of watching it live.
Totally. And even like at this bookcation I was at last weekend, I binged it all the official day it came out, like Thursday day, like that.
Which was wild because I feel like they normally come out on a like Thursday night. Do you know what I mean? Like 12, like midnight, so it's actually Friday.
Yeah, it did that, but like Wednesday night.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's weird. Like Thursday feels like a weird day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but so I'd watched it all, and then I went to this bookcation, and there was another girl who had watched it all the day before as well. Everybody else like doesn't watch it, so me and her were like in the corner, hardcore talking and being excited and like criticizing it and all the things. We were on the same page, which was so fun. And so everybody else watched us, and they're like, "Oh, this is so cute to see you guys just like be so passionate about it and like so excited about it." So
that's so funny.
I was like, this is girlhood.
Yeah, no, exactly. It really is. And so I'm glad we have like this collective moment. My first thought, like literally my first thought when it started though, I have to level with you. Well, I got overwhelmed because I was like, should I wait until the whole thing's out?
I remember.
I was having an existential crisis about it, and then I cracked within like 3 hours, bitch. It was crazy.
I mean, I'm glad you did though, because there's no way you would have been able to avoid anything about it on TikTok.
It's so true. It's so true. Especially like I'm on there so much for my business, and so no, it wouldn't have worked. I'm very glad I did it. But there were spoilers within like Thursday morning.
Yeah, no, I got online.
By the way, if you're doing that,
fuck you. Don't do that. Or at least give a warning with like a couple seconds to go away.
Thursday morning is crazy. Yeah. Like, you didn't even give people 24 hours. What is wrong with you?
I know, because I got on TikTok like that morning and I saw part of the...
Oh yeah, it's you that saw it, right?
Yeah, it was me. I saw part of the carriage scene at the end, and I was like, no!
Jesus.
I'm like, shut up.
I would be so pissed off.
Yeah.
But my first reaction as I was actually watching it, like, I was like a few minutes in, right? And I literally texted Brian. I tried to convince him to watch it with me. It's like, babe, do not make me watch this. But what's funny is I convinced him to watch season 1 because I'm more passionate about season 1. So we are watching season 1, and we're actually tomorrow, because we've only seen 2 episodes so far. We're doing Bridgerton and beers.
Nice.
To like convince him to watch them, so he'll just be kind of drunk. Yeah. And I think he's gonna get really into it. It's gonna be cute. Yeah. Anyway,
that's exciting. You have to tell me how that goes.
It'll be really cute. Anyway, my first reaction, I texted Brian. I was like, the way this main fucking character looks like AI.
No, okay. I think
it looks horrifying.
I think it got better as, like, in the other episodes, looking less like an AI man.
Like, we just got used to it.
I don't know. I feel like I rewatched all 4 episodes today. Yeah. And I feel like definitely so jarring when you see him, because we all know that, like, whatever pairing it is, they get the glow up, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I'm like, he looks like an AI generated glow up man. Like, what are we doing? He looked like a Ken doll.
It was Uncanny Valley. It was giving Uncanny Valley. I was just like, don't marry the cyborg. Like, whatever you do, you know. Like, so I looked it up, but now smarter people than me have to dissect it, and it apparently it looks like he got filler, like in certain spots, because like in scenes where, like, especially when they were in like the gentleman's club, and like his friends, like, they're frowning, and when you frown, when you make facial expressions,
yeah, you
get lines, you know. And he used to get them, but now it's like, this is like the closest he can get to a frown. I don't know. I'll have to like find a picture or something. Okay. But like, it doesn't, like, his face just doesn't move. And so I think that's why he looks AI generated. Which is a bad look right now, especially. Yeah. But I also think they put a filter on everything in Bridgerton too.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yeah. Well, and also it didn't help that his wardrobe was really whack this whole season.
You know what's funny is I don't feel like I fully noticed until suddenly this sumbitch was in like a full leopard tiger print like thing. I was like, what are you doing?
I
it was wild.
Well, because like the whole time I'm like, why is this bro? He's literally the epitome of I just went on a study abroad and now it's my whole personality.
I literally feel like it gave, because like every 5 seconds he's like, in my travels, and he literally might as well have been really hair flipping, because he would do this little thing with his, you know, like his little nose.
He's like, sucks to suck when you like to know.
He'd be like, I would tell you, but you just could never understand what it's like to be abroad, you simpleton women. He was like insulting them, and they're all simpering. Yeah. And I was like, you're being an asshole. It was giving Return Missionary, like, for my Utah girls. Like, where they will not shut up, and they're like, I know everyone goes on one, but like mine was just truly life-changing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It was really cringe.
No, for real. And like, I remember when we see him also at the beginning, it was like really bizarre because he looked AI, and then his outfit was giving adventure pirate back from
that's true.
Europe.
He looked like they were going for cowboy.
Okay.
Is what I took it as, and I was like, what is that?
Right. Well, and then like we later on when they're at the Hawkins Fair for the hot air balloon, I'm like, what is he wearing? Like, I remember
that was the animal print rare one.
Yeah, Rachel texted me a photo. She's like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, he's in his Shakespeare dress era, okay? Because like he has like it was so wild. And I noticed like the collar was popped and like all that. It was so bizarre. And like, what are we doing?
It was so funny. The costumes actually this season in general, I feel like were not working at all.
No. The only costumes I really liked were the majority of Penelope's, because there were some I didn't like.
There were some of Penelope's where I really liked what they were going for, but even on a lot of Penelope's, they did things where I was like, that took away from the moment. You know, like Bridgerton obviously has always been like, the way I described it to someone is I was like, yeah, so Regency era, but girly pop.
Yeah.
You know, like when
I've heard it described as like Regency Gossip Girl.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Which,
like we're not going for historical accuracy. That's not what we're doing. It's more about the vibes.
Yeah.
Like this King George is the same King George that in Hamilton is, and in history is like taxing the colonies, right? Like it's not the same thing.
It's not accurate.
which is great. We love it for them. But like this season, they still had a sense of like the Regency vibe before, and now I don't care about Penelope's waistlines being different. I don't care. Like I hate Regency era waistlines. That's fine. She looks great. Yeah. But they were like doing like a lot of sequins and a weird amount of eyeshadow on everybody. And I was like, that's like not like we look at like what these characters looked like in previous seasons, and they just radiated this Austinian natural beauty, sure, with a filter, a beautiful filter on, but it was still more authentic. And so now to have it just be so girly pop is like, can we not?
I just made a realization. It's Met Gala, but make it Regency.
That's the perfect fucking description. I love that.
Especially when you look at Cressida's outfits.
Those sleeves, my man.
Every time they kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm like, what are we doing?
I saw a thing. Now, some people have been making fun of Cressida in a way where I was like, okay, that, like, the joke, I was like, okay, the joke went too far. But one girl put on, and it literally looked like it could have been one of Cressida's dresses. She put on lampshades.
Shut up.
Like, on her arms. So they're, like, up to, like, literally her head. And I was like, that's accurate. Like,
yeah,
that could be it.
I also saw another meme where it was like similar vein, where it was poking fun at Queen Charlotte's like hairstyles throughout the season, especially in the final ball where she has a fucking like swan diorama on her head. What are we doing?
It's so weird because Charlotte is a fashion icon. I love Charlotte.
Yeah, no,
like,
for real.
She's beautiful, and she always has had the very intricate hairs. Styles, but to now be like, it's so like it's gaudy.
Yeah,
it's giving new money.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Which no one wants to be giving new money. So I don't know. I just was so grossed out by these choices. I don't know if this is true, but I heard this on the etherwebs. So
yeah.
No idea. But supposedly the showrunner has changed from the first two seasons. Yeah, and so I think that's why some of those decisions were different now in terms of costumes and makeup and things like that. I don't think it's actually the costumers because they hired. Well, they did hire different people though. So I think that was like overall not the vibe. But
yeah. Oh well.
We're still having fun. It's fine.
Yeah.
What's next on the outline?
Well, actually, I'll save my comment for when we get to the other scenes later, because I kept thinking of different. Anyways, y'all will find out later. Okay, next on the list. One thing we both thought was kind of a big deal in this season was the overall arching theme of friendship, which was better than the romance.
Oh my god, it's so funny you said that, because that was going to be my hot take. The friendship was the real romance this season.
No, for real. And then also, like, my own personal hot take is that Friends to Lovers is my favorite trope of all time, and this is a Friends to Lovers done. Don't like it. Like, it was cute build up in the previous two seasons, right? But then when we got here, I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I was talking about this with the girl at my bookcation, because it's her favorite trope as well. And we both were like, I love Friends to Lovers, but this was done so poorly. Because, like, it was not as good as it could have been. And it's mostly because Colin fucks over Penelope so much that's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
a bunch of other things. But we'll get there.
You know what? Let's just go there now. Let's just go there now, honestly. Okay. So let's talk about it before we get into the stuff we like, which is friendship.
Yes.
Yeah. Colin and Pen. I have some harsh criticisms as Pen, as we all know.
Yes.
But I love her.
Yes.
Colin this season was an asshole.
100%.
Why is he hooking up with 2 women at once all the time?
Yeah, why is he being a hoe?
He's a complete whore.
He's a whore. Like, why is he doing that? Why did his personality and everything shift beyond just like making his study abroad his whole personality? Like, he just became an asshole.
Yeah, that's the new personality. And I know, you know, Lady Alyssa Down writes about this, like perhaps this is him putting on a persona. And his mom comments about that too. Like, you're probably putting on armor, but the way it was put on too well.
Yeah.
And so it just, because no one knows he's hooking up with 2 women. That's not armor. That's just him living his best life.
Yeah.
And that was really gross to me, to watch. I was like, okay, because Anthony, you know, he was a hoe in season 1, people would say, because he was having sex in the Regency era.
Yeah.
But it was like he was in love with an opera singer. In love. He was committed. It was one woman, very different than like Colin just like being a whore. So there's that.
When there was no implication of that previously.
No, he like learned to be a whore. It comes across like he learned about women on his study abroad.
Right. Which, that's how it comes across. And I was like, and so there's so many instances in this show where I'm like, you are not a friend to Penelope. You're fucking her over and potentially ruining her life.
He, you know, the one thing I'll give him is he does defend her, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. So you know, but he defends her to his sister Eloise.
Yes.
Again, not knowing the situation of what would happen with their friendship, but like that was kind of beautiful to see because he could have easily not done that. But for me, where I'm going to get the most mad while we talk about this is like, okay, so the carriage scene.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. Like don't get me wrong. It's fun. It's like
the carriage scene was really fun.
Stuff is what we're here for.
Yeah. Initially. I see why people are obsessed with like that look of begging in his face when he's on his knees in front of her. I get that. Like that's hot.
Because that's hot. That's like the friendship pining that in that friends to lovers trope that you like. But I don't like how we got there.
Valid. But for me, so that was all amazing, right? And I feel like we're all focusing on the carriage scene, right? But then right after the carriage scene, I feel like he does something unforgivable.
Yeah.
We get out of it because the carriage makes sense. We've just had this epic declaration of love. Like we get swept up in the moment when we're kissing. That makes sense to me, right? Like I'm going to start filling you up. Like that all makes sense. He gets out of the carriage. So the moment's broken. You know what I mean? There's like a knock on the window. He gets out of the carriage. So he had a thought. Like it wasn't like swept up in the moment anymore, right? He looks back at Pen. They're at his house. And he's like, aren't you coming with? And she's like everyone will see, bro.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about?
Like, what are you talking about?
Especially not even just his sisters. We have, and to be fair, everyone's cracking jokes about this online, but I just don't find it very funny. The like coachman and the like carriage rider, they would see all of this happening, the footman. So it's like 2 servants know, and this is a plot in Bridgerton all the time, is that if the servants are gossiping about something, it goes everywhere.
It goes everywhere. Yep.
So someone's gonna know. Like it's literally like we're doing it very blatantly, very obviously. And he's like, well, are we getting married or not?
Yeah, he was like, Penelope Featherington, are you gonna marry me or not? Which like a lot of people freaked out because they like, it's fun to hear that, but then when you think about that, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And apparently he says that in the book too.
Ew.
Like this is how it plays out. Like that ending bit plays out in the book too, but instead of being at Colin's house, they end up at Penelope's house.
Okay.
So that's the only difference, but it's still in the text.
It's disgusting because it's like, it almost sounds like you have to have sex with me no matter what. Like if we're getting married, this is happening. Right. It doesn't take into account, like this is going from 0 to 100 for Penelope. She's had one kiss before the carriage ride. And he's just like pressuring her like crazy, which I find highly inappropriate. But then there's a bigger issue than even that, which consent is a huge issue, to be clear. There's a bigger issue than that. We're in the fucking Regency period. The whole plot of the first fucking season, which was just 2 years ago in the timeline, right, is that if Daphne even got, like, if anyone even speculated that she was near a dark walk with two men, she would be ruined, right? He's ruining Penelope. It doesn't matter if they're going to get married. That's irrelevant.
Matter. Yeah.
Like, literally, we hear, because I've been rewatching season 1, we hear Penelope's mother gossiping with two ladies in like the first or second episode. And they're like, oh, can you believe so-and-so had the audacity to show up? She, you know, it's a good thing her so-and-so decided to marry her after getting caught alone with her in the botanical garden or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, so him being caught with her, which the servants already know, so we are caught, okay? Him being caught with her ruins her in the eyes of society, even if they get married. That will taint her for the rest of her life. So where's the consideration for how this affects her, for what she's feeling, for whatever? And that's the true thing of love, is consideration. And so I don't, like, to me, this proves he doesn't even fucking love her. Yeah. Whore. Because he's a whore.
Yeah. Well, and even, like, with that, this season kind of likes to conveniently forget that it's like what you said. They do a lot of things that were, if they're caught, they'd be ruined.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, even leading up to the carriage scene, I just got pissed at so many people at that final ball. I was like, okay, Penelope thinks she's going to get married to a really nice guy. I really liked him. He was great. And then Colin, Mr. Motherfucker, like, I'm going to come ruin your life, bitch. Bridgerton. Gosh. That's, like, literally what I wrote. I'm like, Colin, Mr. Ruin Your Life, Bridgerton. Okay. Shows up and it's just going to be like, move aside, bitch. And then, like, it's like, I'm going to dance with you right the fuck now. And that's already dramatic anyways. Everyone's talking about it. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? And then
Lord and Debling, it also, what if Penelope was in love with him? He's just completely ruined that chance, because he doesn't know at this point.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't care how this might affect her.
Right. And then Cressida decides to dance with him. And it's like, oh, yeah. Because he thinks they're just normal friends. And then what makes me upset is that because I know she's doing it for her benefit, she eggs him on to be like, oh, yeah, there's something more going on between them and blah, blah, blah. And that causes him to doubt and go basically like, we're not getting married anymore. Period. And that's embarrassing.
I do think if Penelope had come to him and it hadn't been as obvious she was in love with him, I still think he would have married her, to be fair. I don't think that's Cressida's fault. I think. Yeah, but regardless, I see what you're talking about. Like, once again, this bird, like, you know what I was thinking during this stuff where he just had no regard for her feelings? I was like, the Duke could never. Could never. He constantly was worried. Never. He constantly is worried about what this will feel like for Daphne and stuff. And again, there's getting swept up in the moment, but then he's pressuring her. There's whatever. Like, I think it's really disgusting, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot of things happening really fast where no one's processing what's actually happening, and it literally just looks like Colin just wants to bang her and is like, okay, I decide I want you, bitch, come with me, let's get fucking married.
And if you don't come with me, will I even marry you? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not convinced he would.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting.
He's been a whore this whole season.
And because that's kind of what his words imply. And that matters to consent, right? Yeah. Period. So really distressing. I want to circle back to Lord Debling, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last episode, he's like, oh, I'm not really looking for love. Like, that's not in my life. Thanks. Yeah. But I actually was shocked by that, because I swear to God, they had chemistry.
Dude, they had chemistry the whole time.
It was like, were the actors in a thing? Like, because, like, there was chemistry. You cannot convince me there was not.
No, for real. I think that's just a testament to their acting, because, like, I've seen a lot of interviews and things on TikTok with, like, Colin and Penelope's actors, and, like, the chemistry, IRL chemistry between them is off the charts.
Yeah, they're really cute IRL.
They're really cute IRL. But Lord Debling's character, I was also really shocked. Like, I forgot he basically said, oh, I don't really have room in my heart for love, right?
Yeah. But he doesn't see that till pretty far into the process.
Yeah,
like,
it was literally like the last episode.
Yeah, he constantly says, I want a woman who has her own interests, but that does not equal I don't want love or a partner. Those are not the same thing. And so I felt completely blindsided by that personally.
Same.
Because I really did think there was chemistry. So I do think there was something going on in the background. It's fine. There was maybe an IRL love triangle. Like, that's my theory. Because that man was in love with her, I swear to God.
No, seriously. They were so cute. Even though, they're not, they're not going to end up together. But they were
3 years.
They were so good.
3 years. That is crazy, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, because at one point he says, like, I go off and do a lot of stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Mm-hmm. But he was gonna be leaving for 3 years. Why even be married, my man? Like, what are we even doing? What are
you doing?
Like, I think that's crazy. And I've seen a lot of people joking online, like, oh, I'd take that in a heartbeat, blah, 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 blah. That's like maturing, is realizing that's the move. Because then you get to like do whatever you want all the time. But the way
I guess in the Regency era, sure, but I would not do that now.
I'm not interested in that. Do you know what I'm saying? He wasn't actually making room for her in his life. Like, I'm not saying he can't go do his trips, but there's a big difference between like a few months and 3 years. That's fucking crazy. Okay, speaking of other crazy people, because I feel like we're gonna end on friendship. Other crazy people, Francesca.
Yeah.
One of the Bridgerton girls. I know was recast this season, so that was weird.
It was weird, but this new actress, she's really beautiful. And
she is beautiful. I do think, I don't know if it was the filter or what, but she also is given just a little bit AI. Not as much as Colin, but I was like, we can tone down the beauty perfecting guys. Like, this is a little weird. Like,
I did see a cute comparison of her to Daphne and how they look similar enough that they could be siblings. And I was
that's really cute. I mean, that's all true for sure. Yeah. I just think they perfected her too much. She's phenomenal and beautiful. Yeah. But like, it gets weird when skin's too smooth. Like it hits a point of weird, and I think we hit it. But I want to talk about this funny moment where she's like low-key like talking to this guy, and he seems like the catch of the season because she's the diamond of the season. The queen personally picked him out, which the Bridgerton girlies never go for whoever the queen picks. The queen's gonna hate the Bridgertons. It's fine.
I feel like she low-key does.
That's fair. The prince was a catch. Like, I actually,
no, for real.
Like, I love the Duke, but I actually was kind of like, I'm feeling this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
but this son of a bitch was like, she's like, oh, can it be difficult being from a family with a lot of kids? Like, it can be exhausting. And he's like, I love it, and I'm going to have 8 kids.
I know. And I'm like,
it was a very specific number.
Yeah, I know. And
that's a creepy thing to think. You don't get to decide how many kids you want without a partner. Like, that, it would be one thing if he's like, I want kids.
Right.
But he's like, I want 8 children. You'll probably die in childbirth, but let's fucking go.
Yeah, no, it gave me the most immediate ick. I was like, ew, what are we doing?
I was like, can we not though? Like, it was honestly, it was creepy. It was really creepy. I was like, oh, so she's a baby making machine. Cool. This is not even a relationship, honestly.
I know. Well, it like, and even talking about that, it reminds me, there was a moment in like one of the earlier episodes where Francesca talks to Penelope because they're both being little wallflowers for a bit. And shoot, there was a point, and the point just goodbye. I don't remember where I was going.
I know she says something along the lines of like, make sure you get off the wall or you might never again or something. Is that where you're going?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm sorry, boo.
That's all good.
I do think the ick that man gave her made her almost consider not getting married, though. I'll tell you that.
I remember now because the ick helped me remember. She made a comment to Penelope about how she thought she would be having more engaging conversations instead of being inspected like a bug under a microscope.
Yeah. Oh my God, that reminds me. There was a conversation with a bunch of suitors. And it was horrifying, where they were like, oh, what are your interests? And she was like, I really love the piano. And they were like, what else? And she's like, no, like, it takes up most of my time, actually, though. And they were like so rude about it. They like just wanted to hear if she also. They were like, "What are your other skills?" Like, blah, blah,
and they were
blah,
like,
blah,
"What
blah.
makes you tick?"
Oh, that's what it was. I was so creepy. I was like, "You tick me the fuck off." Like, is what makes me tick. Like, I don't know, man.
No,
F you.
seriously.
But like she it was so weird because no one was asking her follow-ups about the piano. Like she gave them the thing, but they were like doing a checklist for their future wife because they didn't care about her as a human being.
No.
It was really creepy. Yeah, I think that's a great one.
But the boo she has though.
The what?
Her boo, the silent guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He listens to her. He could have articulated better what was happening.
More. Yeah.
But it's cute. I saw a spoiler from the book on TikTok about him.
I've seen it too.
It really pisses me off I saw that.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I was like, I could have not known that. Thank you. Like, why'd you have to take this from me? I actually, like, you know, I've heard that the books are really problematic, and I've never read them. But like,
I mean, I want to read them just so I can know for myself.
That's valid. That's how I felt about Lightlark. So, but like, I don't know. We don't need to. Anyway, people need to show up on TikTok. Is all I'm saying. It's fine.
I gotta say, when he brought her that piece of rearranged music, I was like, oh my gosh, he actually pays attention to what she likes and listened. It made me so happy.
Yeah, because he put together the piano thing with how she wanted the music done. Like, it was just really beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, we are just talkaholics. It's fine. I love this for us. So we should probably jump to the friendship theme because I think there's just so much there.
Yeah, we should talk about that. We also haven't talked much about Penelope herself either.
Today's artist spotlight is for TashaRoseClay. She's so cool. I actually found her. She went viral she makes these keychains. And they're beautiful. She's based in New Zealand, so the shipping's a lot, but they're fuck the patriarchy. Like Taylor Swift. And she does like all kinds of the era's colors. They're so gorgeous. So I got a red one for Jalaire, and I have a pink one. But the way every time she comes out with a new one, I'm like, God, I want that. Like, like I just every single Loungefly has it, everyone.
Amazing.
They're so cute. But
they're so cute and they're so durable.
No, they are. They're very like they're bendy. It's a good resin that like doesn't scratch really easily. Like her process is really cool.
And like watching the clay feels like leather on the back.
Yeah. No.
It's so good. It's such a good durable keychain, and every Swiftie loves them.
And it's handmade. Like, I feel like there's a lot of versions that don't look this beautiful. Like, the way these colors pop so much. She's also, like, so adorable and cute, but she makes earrings as well.
Cute.
So I own some of her, like think, like, clay, like, different shapes, you know, unique little things. So, like, I own her seashell ones, which is perfect for, like, an aerial bound. But she does all kinds of little creatures and things, and I think she's one of the most talented little clay people I've seen before. So, because I'm like actually really picky when I buy small business stuff, and if I don't like it, I don't tell anyone because I'm not gonna shade anyone. But like, I'm a picky hoe, and let me just say, like, this is good shit. So we're gonna link her down below. Maybe Julian and I'll buy more keychains tonight for us. Just like go ham. So we'll link her down below, but follow her, check her stuff out. If you're a Swiftie, you're gonna love it. Or if you just like really cute earrings, honestly, you're gonna love her.
Very cute earrings.
So cute. I'll picture them on the YouTube for those of you watching on YouTube. But otherwise, yeah, tell her we sent you. Well, to be fair, I feel like talking about her friendship with Eloise leads to that. Do you know what I mean?
Valid. Okay.
So let's start with we'll start with Eloise and Cressida. So then we can get into Pen more intense.
Yeah.
So Eloise and Cressida, you know, obviously we all are primed to hate Cressida because she's done some fucked up shit over the seasons.
Yeah, she has. Like, we're built up to hate her.
Yeah. But I am fucking obsessed with their friendship.
Yeah, at first I was like, what the fuck, Eloise? Like, not gonna lie, I was the first kind of upsetty spaghetti about it. But then, like, as it moved along and their friendship grew, I was like, oh my gosh, because, like, they both were able to like be there for each other and also like call each other out on their bullshit.
Yes, and I feel like, you know, even really early on, they say, you know, Cressida says something to Eloise, like, first episode about, like, you know, you were really there for me this summer when no one else was.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so beautiful. And then later they have these discussions specifically about female friendship, which I think are so important, where they were talking about, Cressida says, I've never really had friends.
Yeah.
She's like, I think once we're on the marriage market, like, we're pitted against each other because we're each other's competition, which makes a lot of sense because literally her competition at one point with the prince was Daphne, you know, and that pressure there. And so it's a really sad phenomenon. And I think like it was so beautiful to watch her realize how important that friendship was and how much she wanted it for her. And then we see how that changes with like how she interacts with her. Because first episode, she knows we watch Cressida watch Eloise seeing Penelope. And she can tell that Eloise is upset. Right. And so she wants to be mean because that's how she thinks.
That's how she knows how to make things better.
Yes. So and I actually, okay, to be clear, I'm not saying she should be mean to Pen and that it's okay. I'm not saying that. But it hit me so hard because she sees her friend in pain and she's like, let's punch her. I don't care what the reason is because she doesn't know because Eloise has kept that secret. And I actually thought that was so beautiful because we all need that in our lives to some extent. Again, I'm not saying we should be Cressida's, but like, I thought it was so beautiful. And then we see her start to realize what Eloise actually needs because she pays attention to her and they really listen to each other.
Yeah, 100%. And like when Eloise went to go visit Cressida and like, she's like, I've never had friends come over before. I was like,
it was so cute. And Eloise is literally like, yeah, I noticed you were upset the night before, which she was. You know, they're noticing each other. And it's honestly, it's so beautiful. I have seen a lot of discourse on TikTok of people saying they hope that they split from the books. And they're like, oh, they're in love with each other. Eloise and Cressida. And that actually upsets me.
Me too.
We need gay representation. Absolutely. Let's do that. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. And maybe Eloise is gay. I could see it. But I
could see her being bi. Let's be for real.
Yeah, bi. Like, definitely could see her being bi. So that's not what the complaint is about for me. But I just feel like every time two female characters have a healthy relationship where they see each other in pain and they try to help each other and whatever, which is the cornerstone, I think, of foundation of like life, is good friendship more than romance.
Yeah.
Every time we see that, people are like, oh, they should be together.
Yeah.
And I think it really is disrespectful to friendship. Because romance is absolutely important.
Right.
But friendship is just as important, and that's actually what this plot line's about, babes. You know what I mean?
It's just as important to have good friendship representation as well that doesn't turn into like a romantic thing either, because there's like so many good, like in real life there's a lot of platonic great friendships, right? So it doesn't need to always turn to romance.
And I think it's like we don't see it a lot in in media still, like truly great friendships. Like friendships are almost cursory. It's almost more about a plot device so that the women can talk about the men, you know? So to see how important friendship is in their lives and helping Cressida, like Cressida making the decision, like, I don't care that my father's threatening to marry me off to someone random, like having a friend's important to me. And I've learned that because I've done it the other way and it was miserable. Like that's what's making Cressida slowly become a better person is her friendship with Eloise.
100%.
And that's so important.
It really is.
Yeah.
And no, my mind definitely changed over the season about Cressida. You know?
I'm obsessed with her, actually. I love her so much.
I don't like her outfits, but
I hate her outfits, man. I hate her outfits. She needs to pull a Penelope and stop doing what her mom wants her to do. It's like, same with her hair. Like, just stop.
Just stop.
Queen,
it.
stop it. Yeah. But I think too, because we have this blossoming friendship that's so healthy. I think it highlights an actually very unhealthy friendship that we need to talk about, which is Eloise and Penelope.
Yes.
So obviously our besties are in a fight,
Yeah.
right? She finds out she's Lady Whistledown, and Eloise is like, what the fuck? You've ruined you like outed my relationship with this guy. You almost ruined me in society's eyes. You've fucked with multiple of my family members. What the fuck? And Pen is never actually apologizes. So we come back and it's so fun to see, even though it's depressing. Like, it's fun to see because I actually am in pain for both of them.
Me too. It hurts to see them because you know they're best friends. Truly.
They constantly are always noticing each other wherever they are, and you watch it happen.
Yeah. And it hurts every time.
Yeah.
And, like, I definitely got really emotional when Eloise came to Penelope's house.
Yeah.
And I can't remember why she was there.
She was apologizing because she accidentally outed.
Because she accidentally outed them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, like, brave and, like, bigger person of her to do. Like,
I agree. I think it's a perfect example of, like, because we're watching them even before that, noticing each other and noticing when each other's in pain. I feel like they're not friends right now, like, categorically.
Yeah.
They've broken up. You know what I mean?
They had a friend breakup.
They had a friend breakup, but they still love each other. Totally. And I think it's very fucking clear that they still love each other.
Right.
In fact, Penelope's entire glow up actually is a direct result of Cressida and Eloise becoming best friends.
Totally.
And so, like, I think it just speaks to the pain of a friendship breakup. It's one of the worst pains any of us will ever go through. But that scene was particularly powerful because Eloise comes and she's being the bigger person. And then Pen says, like, I got new books. Do you want to read them? Which, to be clear, broke my fucking heart.
I know.
Because I want the best for Pen, but I'm still pissed off. Because, once again, like, Pen says, oh, we didn't see each other this summer in a different scene. And Eloise was like, yeah, you left. And she's like, I was giving you space. But she never fucking apologizes. She never talks about how she's going to change. Or, like, if she has any sort of moral lines as Lady Whistledown that she will not cross. She doesn't. I think a lot about how Penelope outed a woman who was pregnant in the Regency era. She publicly outed her, which not only embarrassed the woman and could have put her on the streets to die.
Totally.
That very 100%. Much was almost what happened. Yeah. If that guy hadn't randomly shown them up, right? Like, and that blood honestly would be on her hands, Penelope's hands. Yeah. But she also, because this girl's just trying to survive by marrying Colin Bridgerton, which I understand why that's emotional for Pen. I really, really do. But she could have written him a fucking anonymous letter. Yeah. You can write this whole thing as Lady Whistledown, but you couldn't have written an anonymous letter. Instead, you had to publicly embarrass him and put a woman's life and her child's life at risk. What the fuck is that, Pen? And so we're not seeing her take any accountability for any of these actions. And I want her to get there because I want them to be able to be friends again. But she owes Eloise a huge fucking apology.
Yeah, 100%. It broke my heart also for both of them when Penelope had to diss herself.
Yeah.
Writing about herself and what happened, right, for Lady Whistledown, right? And Eloise, like, knows. It's like, oh shit, she had to write that about herself.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. It would be sus if she didn't.
No, it totally makes sense. And that's emotional for Eloise to read. In fact, we see Eloise reading more Lady Whistledown now than we ever did before.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I think it's her only, it's like social media. It's like her version of stalking her friend 100%. In a very real way.
Yeah.
I think a lot about how, you know, before Colin was like, no, Pen, I'm sorry, whatever. At the very beginning of the season, as Lady Whistledown, she wrote a scathing, like, review of Colin. And, you know, I was like, you know, Eloise is more of a friend than I think Penelope deserves. Because how the fuck Eloise didn't turn around and go, fuck you, I'm telling on you. Right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, have you seen the trailer for season 3? Like the
Yeah, I know
2?
she does say it.
Yeah,
I know that happens because they're getting married, but even just Lady Whistledown writing more bad things about her family, it's like, are you so serious right now?
Yeah, especially when Colin is like, I want to figure out, like, he says something about, like, wanting to unmask Lady Whistledown.
Yeah.
And, like, is pissed at her.
Which, Lady
understandably, like...
she's horribly ruined people's lives. And mostly the Bridgertons, actually. Yeah. Which is because Pen was taking advantage of her friendship with Eloise. Yeah. And that's something I think about a lot, too, is, like, Eloise let her into her life, and Pen took advantage of that. I can't imagine if you were selling my secrets on the DL. How do you move on from that kind of betrayal?
This is literally why I'm like, this is like, it is literally Regency Gossip Girl.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it absolutely is. That's so true. But I just, I want to see her take accountability. And what's funny is, in fact, we're seeing her do the opposite. Yeah. There's an excellent scene that I'm obsessed with because she finally gets called on her shit. Where she's reading Colin Bridgerton's journal. And he's helping her.
I forgot that happened, honestly, until I rewatched today. I was like, what the fuck, Pen? Why did you do that?
And he's like helping her out. It's not like she's like sleuthing for his safety, or there's no...
She didn't even ask him to help her. He was like, I'll help you. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm not comfortable at your house. And they're like sneaking fucking around. And then she snoops on his shit.
Which is so not, it's such a breach of privacy, right? And what's so great, though, because I was pissed. She started reading, and I was like, she's the same fucking person! Like, I was so mad. But Colin comes in, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And Pen's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
And he's like, you picked it up?
And you opened it, and you read it. Like, what do you mean you didn't mean to? Like, and I was like, that's the most excellent takedown I've ever heard in my life. Because, you didn't fall face plant onto this book. Like, be so serious. And I want to see her grow. I think that's really what I want for her. We're seeing Cressida grow, and Eloise is trying to start growing. But like, Pen is almost, in my mind, she's doubling down. Like, she changed her hair and her fits, which was slay. I love this for her. But then it gave her confidence, and she's almost doubling down on being an asshole.
Because I was all like, yeah, she's doing opposite of what her mom wants, and like, is, standing up for herself. But then it's like, you're still being a dick.
Yeah, you're still betraying the people who actually love you. That's crazy to me. Betraying her family's assholes. That's fine.
No, I literally fucking hate them.
Yeah, they deserve it, right?
Yeah.
Betraying the actual people, and she even says, like, Bridgerton House used to be the only place she felt safe. Like, she says things like that.
Yeah, she said that. And that...
Yeah, it fucking hurts. And at no point does she think to herself, oh, I took this safe space and made it unsafe by selling their stories.
I also just realized another reason Colin's an asshole is that she told him that, and he still made her come to Bridgerton House.
Yeah, that was weird. She was like, I don't feel comfortable. I want to leave. And he's like, everyone's gone. And like, he has no respect for boundaries. Even explicitly stated boundaries at all. He is a walking red flag, bitch. Like, I think we're supposed to think he's this dweeby little cutesy motherfucker. And like,
maybe he could have been in another life.
Yeah, in another life.
If this didn't happen.
But it's like thing after thing after thing. I actually think they were like, okay, everything that Colin Bridgerton that's good about him, let's get rid of it.
They're like, let's yeet it for the sake of...
Let's make him the evil Bridgerton. Like, that was the prompt.
No, seriously, though.
So funny.
Man, yeah.
Okay, so... all fun stuff. Let's talk about Violet and Lady Danbury's brother.
That was the cutest little surprise in this whole show.
Why does Lady Danbury hate him so bad? Like, she thinks he's a player, and she's like trying to protect Violet Bridgerton. Respect. But why does she think that? What has he done? The way I'm like, are you sus? Like, dude.
I know, literally, I'm like, what the fuck have you done? Like, are we gonna find out in part 2? I hope so.
I hope so too. Okay, you know what it's giving? I saw a TikTok. It was so funny. It's like a separate thing, but it feels like the same energy, right? If his sister is this sus of him, it reminds me of when this girl did a TikTok. She was like, my boyfriend got sent the smallest man who ever lived today by his ex-girlfriend. And I'm just like, you know what? The gumption. And everyone in the comments was like, that's a sign you need to fucking run.
Yeah.
Like if someone thinks that about him, you need to run. Yeah. And that's what this is giving, is I'm like, what is she like? It seems so sweet, it seems so innocent, and obviously I want love for Violet.
Like, I know, I'm like, she deserves to have love again. Yeah.
But I'm just like, what is why is Lady Danbury this sus of him? What has he done?
Like, why was he living in the country? Did he kill a man? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
He like, you know, he sexually assaulted a maid. Like, what did he do?
What did he do? I'm so excited for part 2 because like I'm so pissed at Netflix for not giving us the whole thing, because obviously we can only talk about this first half, but it's like, okay, we don't know if we get the growth that we want. We don't know about all these other plot points, and it drives me up a wall.
I agree.
Obviously, we're going to talk about part 2.
Yeah, obviously,
when it comes out, but like, it makes me so upsetty spaghetti.
It's just like, that's not what Netflix is for. Like, learn your place.
Like, go back.
You're giving us 8 episodes and you made us wait 2 years for it, and now you're gonna be like, but actually you don't get to watch it. That's crazy. There's been a lot of talk about, speaking of the Duke earlier, how Simon would never. A lot of people running their mouth about, you know, because Simon won't come back. He said he won't come back and do like cameo appearances on Bridgerton.
Because isn't Daphne not coming back anymore either?
Yeah, and people think, but I don't know if that's been said. They think it's because Simon's not coming back, and it's too weird to have Daphne there without Simon there. Which to me, that's just like a writing problem. Like, you could write around that. It's not that fucking hard. Do you know what I'm saying?
Also, like, there's so many Bridgerton siblings that, like, I'm okay with some of them being gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know. I heard that Daphne was supposed to be very involved in some of these love lines. And so it feels like it's taking away from her character. And I actually think Daphne is one of the strongest characters, like, in terms of strong women. So that's disappointing. But I also, like, I do think we could have had her still. But if they were going to just do it like how they did with Anthony and his girl, the way that could have just not been there. Like, yeah, it was just fluff, right?
No, literally, like, when we get into episode 1 and they're having sex, I'm like, this isn't your season. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, I thought I actually feel opposite. I was like, since they were doing that, I thought we were going to see a little bit more of them. Because Daphne, she physically gets involved in season 2 when Anthony's like afraid. She's like, are you in love with her? You know, like, she's like involved in the plot of Anthony, right? In season 2. So that would have been great to see. But instead, they're just there as frill.
Yeah, let me repreface, I guess what I'm saying, is that I was like, I didn't mind that they were there, but with how prevalent they were in the first episode, I thought they would be more important. And so I'm like, are we just getting more of your fluff because that's what people obviously like?
Yeah. And
they want people to keep watching the show. But then, like, they were only around for episode 1, really.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I'm like, you could have been helpful background characters like Daphne was in season 2.
So it feels more like a unified family.
Right. And also, I don't know. I think I was just annoyed that I was like, we don't have to see your smut when that was all last season. Like, you guys can be around, but like, it's not your season.
That's so funny. Maybe it was just to show that Violet's gonna remain lady of the house, maybe. Which was sweet, I guess, actually. Anyway,
but I digress.
Yeah, but a lot of people have been kind of shading Simon, the Duke's actor. They're like, I haven't seen you in any big movies. Like, are you too good for us now?
Dude,
and
that's
guys,
so mean.
An actor does not owe us owe us their time 100%. Just because they were part of a big franchise. I feel like fans are crazy entitled with the shit they're popping off the mouth. They're like, he should 100%. Be grateful. And I'm like, I'm sure he is grateful. Like, it's not like he's saying, fuck the Duke. Like, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, I'm not going to fly out and change my filming schedule to be in one scene.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's great
okay.
that Daphne would, or wanted to in season 2. I loved that. But, like, it's okay for him to have boundaries, guys.
Yeah.
It's hard to get an acting career off the ground. We don't know what that's like. I think the fans need to shut the fuck up.
I think that with a lot of fandoms in general, people feel like they're entitled to people's time and like knowing things, and like even like when they don't like things an actor does in a show because that's how their character was written, and then sending death threats and all that. It's its own huge toxic horrible cloud in fandom that creepy. Needs to stop.
No, like, he doesn't owe you anything. He gave us the gift of season 1. That's a huge gift.
That's the gift.
Like, that's the gift. Like, I've watched season 1 like 7 times. Like,
I don't know why I just thought of this, but I watched a part of an interview on TikTok where the Bridgerton boys were saying, that everyone's like saying look like the Jonas Brothers right now, which is so funny to me.
That is funny.
Colin, Benedict, and Anthony. And so like Colin's actor, they asked him like, who did you initially audition for? Right?
Oh, that's interesting.
And he actually auditioned for the Duke originally.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh.
But I know, but it's funny.
I am normally the first person to say, don't assume an actor can't pull something off. That I'm the first person to say that because I think it's so annoying and people are like, well, they could just never be evil. I don't believe it. I'm like, shut up. You don't know how they act. Right. It's an art, bitch. But like, he looked, and maybe they did it with costuming alone, but he looked kind of like pudgy and young and like baby fatty.
He was in a cute way. He was our dweeby goober kid.
I just he could have been the Duke. Like, that's hilarious.
But isn't that funny?
That's so funny. That's cute for him. That was really mean. That's the meanest thing I've ever said about an actor. Oh my god. There's one more line I want to really talk about. It's kind of serious, but it went so hard. Because I do love Penelope, even though I want her to grow. She said to her mother, after Lord Debling ran off, her mom comes up and is like,
I wanted to talk about this.
Yes. Her mom's like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And she says, that's what you're going to ask me? Not, am I okay? Do I only mean something to you if I'm engaged? And the mom looked stricken. Like, she seemed to kind of realize what she'd done, which would be crazy for that mom a little bit, because that mom is a narcissist. But I just thought it was so powerful because there are parents and there are people in our lives who do really just view us as how they can get ahead and how society perceives them. Like, we are a reflection on them. And it's so disgusting. And I think it's just so, I don't know, it just went really hard.
No, for real. I remember being upset about that line initially when I first watched it, but I was so like swept up in like what's happening with Colin and Penelope and the drama of that moment. But then today that hit me really hard. And I was like, the Featherington family is already such atrocious people, but having your mom say, what have you done, hurts so bad because it just shows she literally does not care about her daughter.
Well, so she's never given Penelope attention before. The first time Penelope got attention, really, aside from just mean, snide remarks, was when Lord Debling gave her his attention. And so she got her mother's love for all of an episode.
Right.
And that's harrowing.
It was.
I do think, okay, I will say though, obviously I hate Lady Featherington. She's an asshole. But I feel like she was kind of real for being like, hey, like, what do you mean you're waiting out for love? Like, you've been out for 3 seasons. You're kind of the joke of the town. Now, that's mean to say.
It was mean.
It's mean, but like her mom had no reason to think there was another opportunity for Penelope. Yeah. And Penelope's life as a spinster would be horrible because women's lives are dependent on other people.
Right.
And like, she has Lady Whistledown money, but like, I don't think that's enough. I get the feeling that's not enough for her to live alone, though. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. And like, even in the earlier episodes, Penelope's mom was saying like making fun of her for being a spinster, but then was like, you get to take care of me forever, haha, kind of basically. And then that's when Penelope's like, fuck, I have to get married.
No,
I can't
seriously.
live. Like, I have to get out. And like, that's relatable.
It was really relatable. I also, I actually do feel a little bit bad for Lady Featherington. I feel like she's constantly coming up against, now she's a horrible human.
Yeah.
However, I do think a lot of the reasons Lady Featherington does the evil things she does is this deep fear of being homeless.
Oh, 100%.
And it's a valid fear because her first husband wastes all the money. Her second cousin or whatever was like defrauding the town. Like she constantly is put in a place because she can't inherit her own land.
I know.
That's not an option. Which is crazy. And so, she has this whole thing where it's like, this season she's lied, and I respect this lie. Where she's like, yeah, one of my whoever's daughter's, my daughter's heir will get the lordship. Because she will lose everything. She'll lose her title. She'll lose a home. She'll lose whatever. That's fucking crazy. And so I do feel really... And I do think, that's in part why Pen is Lady Whistledown, because she knows she needs like a backup. But Lady Whistledown's kind of scary, right? Because she has to be part of society to write as Lady Whistledown. So if she loses status, she wouldn't be able to be her anymore. Like, her cash cow's gone.
Right.
Like, she just has whatever she's saved. It's really scary.
It is scary.
Which is why I give a lot of grace to a lot of our female characters. Like Cressida for doing mean things, or like that girl who tried to trick Colin into marrying her the first season. I honestly was like, secure the bag, queen. Like, you're about to be homeless with a baby. Like,
no, straight up.
If you can convince a lord to marry you, like Pen was like, oh, isn't that, which I get, Pen's in love with him, right? Again, I get why that would.
We get why.
Yeah, I get why it'd be unfair to him, but at the same time, she's hot. He was in love with her. Is it really the worst thing ever? Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially if he couldn't really tell it wasn't his. Does it matter?
Right.
I mean, that's kind of my hot take on that, is does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been really fun. I'm excited for round 2.
Totally. So I had, at the end, we put like funny moments highlights. There's 2 that came to mind. Number 1, iconic at this point because it's made its rounds on TikTok, is Miss Featherington explaining sex.
Kate, what was so funny about that to me?
Yeah.
Is that means she didn't do it right before they got married.
Oh, I know.
She failed at her job.
She did.
Horrifically. What do you mean his pants are supposed to come off? I laughed so hard. And I was like, you know what, Slay? Because making out is amazing. Like,
yeah.
I get it. Like,
yeah. But it just made me laugh when she was like, when he inserts himself, and then she goes, inserts himself where?
Which is valid. I
know, but it's just the way it's like.
Kate, you know what was funny?
Like
I
how
thought
she said it was so funny.
That was well acted. I kind of was like, but like, I don't want to be like grotesque about it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I could see it being that like, with the lack of sex education for the women in general, and men get it from brothels. Yeah. I was like, I could see it being that like they couldn't conceive because he was doing it to the wrong hole.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Like, couldn't you kind of see that happening? And like, she wouldn't know. She's like, well, it was inserted. Like,
yeah.
What do you want from me? Like, do you know what I mean? And I was like, and it was funny because Lady Featherton acted like they were the idiots for this.
Oh, I know.
And I was like, babes,
but
this
like,
looks bad
failed.
on you. This was your job. Like,
yeah.
So funny.
Which was so funny. And
her one daughter was like, I don't like it. And I was like, so sad.
I know. The other moment that made me laugh was during the hot air balloon thing. I like grass.
I like grass was so funny. I physically was like, no. like, she needs to work on her improv skills, man. Like, she could have said, I like pigeons, and it would have sounded...
Okay.
Do you have another funny moment for us to learn?
No, just inserts himself where in grass.
I've seen a lot of people making fun of the hot air balloon scene, like how slow the air balloon is, which, to be fair, some of those TikToks have been hilarious. Like, one girl was, like, pretending to be the air balloon. She's like, no worries, you can move at any point. I do think Penelope, I think for me, it was more or less believable until Penelope fell, and she just was like she didn't even try to crawl or anything, which I know would have been unladylike, but, like, she's just like, I'll get hit by this balloon, it's fine.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I mean, she was kind of like, I'm gonna be a spinster anyways, might as well die.
You know what, honestly, she probably was so horrified from I like grass, she was like, this is a good ending. That's what really happened there.
Like, I'm embarrassed.
She's like, there's no recovering from this. So I think, especially in front of her, like, low-key ex-bestie arch nemesis. You know what I
mean? Yeah. 100%.
That's actually really funny.
Before we log off, do you have any FanCorner announcements?
I do. The miniatures have now gone live. Hooray! So they're like our happiness spells that we make. They're like, I don't know, 3 inches normally. These are like half an inch.
Amazing.
They're so small and detailed, but they're still really durable. People love them at shows, like they go goo goo gaga. So I didn't think people would want them online, but they do. So we're doing it, and it's awesome. And then also Hugsy is live, and then my miniatures go live next week. So I made the Stag and No Patronus, but like actually a lot bigger. So instead of like 3 inches, it's like 8 inches.
Cool.
So it's on my fireplace mantle, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen it. It looks so nice.
We're just having so many options. I don't even know. But here's the really exciting one for the podcast. Besides my brand new camera, everyone appreciate how much crispier I look. What? We have a podcast guest coming on next week. We are stoked about it. They're joining us for Harry Potter This or That. So it will be unhinged questions. I'll see if anyone wants to write any in, but it'll probably be stuff like, you know, Lucius or Draco Malfoy. And like, I don't know. And we'll all answer it. It's Taylor from Cow Capped Clean. And we're really stoked about it. She's funny and she's cute. And I think, honestly, I would imagine some weird things will come out of our mouths. It's one of our, like, more, like, I feel like sometimes we have truly unhinged episodes. This is one of those. That's like, I think it's going to be crazy. It's
going to be on brand.
It's going to be so on brand. So please come. Really stoked about that. I don't have anything else, though.
Okay.
That's it.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And Jalaire for being our lovely co-host. We're going to hype her. Remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, tweet it, whatever you do. It all helps so much. When you don't do that, I get sad. So, not to pressure you too much.
But when you do that, it makes us happy.
And it's free, so
for the small price of free $99, you can share.
Anyway, so we'll see you next week. And have a very magical day.